Lesson 40, simplifying and evaluating expressions using the power property of exponents. So this lesson is a review of some of the properties we've already gone through with exponents. Remember, when we multiply like bases, you add the exponents. When you divide like bases, you subtract the exponents. Then we looked at when we had negative exponents, we had to make them positive by using the reciprocal of the base. So today, we're going to look at some other properties. We're going to look at the power of a power property, which just means when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So in the top box, you see x to the m power. All that is raised to the n power. And you would just multiply m times n. And then we have the power of a product property, which just tells you that if you are raising x and y to the m power, that's the same thing as saying x to the m power times y to the m power. So you have to put that power on every single factor in the parentheses. And then the power of a quotient property just tells you if you have a fraction as the base and you're raising it to a power, you raise the numerator to that same power and the denominator to that same power. Let's take a look at some examples. A power of a power property. So first one has been done for you. 3 squared to the third power is really saying 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared. And we already know that when you're multiplying like bases, you add the exponents. 2 plus 2 plus 2 gives you 6. Therefore, we can say 3 squared is the same thing as saying 3 squared times 3, or 2 times a 3 would give you your 6, so 3 to the 6th. This next one, 4 to the 5th squared, would really mean 4 to the 5th times 4 to the 5th, which is really 4 to the 10th. This next one, 7 squared, we can easily write that as 7 to the 8th. 2 cubed is the same thing as saying 2 to the 12th. We just multiply the base 2 to the third power 4 times. And then we have x to the 6th. The other side, 3 squared, or s cubed. And that's all raised to the second power would be s to the 6th. 10 squared to the third power would be 10 to the 6th. 3 to the fourth power, and all that is squared, would be 3 to the 8th power. And then we have 5 squared to the second power would be 5 to the 4th. And the last one here, b to the 4th raised to the 7th power would be b to the 28th power. Now, if they were ever to ask us to write the value of those, then we would have to simplify even more. So like instead of 7 to the 8th, we would have to find out what is 7 to the 8th. Other examples here. Here we have the power of a product property, so we have to raise every factor to that power. So in the first one, they have 7a cubed, b to the 5th, all that is to the third power. So I raise everything to the third power. So 7 cubed, a cubed to the third power, b to the 5th to the third power, and then write our answer here. We're going to do the same thing. So here, negative 2 to the third power. Remember, it's important to put that negative 2 in parentheses because the negative will make a difference. And then we have y to the 4th times 3. And so negative 2 cubed would be a negative 8. And then y to the 12th. So we would have negative 8 to the y to the 12th. This next one will be 3 cubed times g to the 4th times 3, which will give us 27 g to the 12th. Other examples, negative 4 squared, so it would be negative 4 in parentheses squared times m squared times 2 times n cubed times 2. This would give us positive 16 m to the 4th n to the 6th. And this next one, negative 3 squared times n to the 4th times 2. This would give us 9 n to the 8th. And by the way, the negative in front of the 3 does not go with the n to the 4th. It just stays with the negative, which is with a 3. And some application problems. A square family room is being measured for carpeting. If the length of one side of the room is 2x feet, what is the area of the room? The area of a square, we take our side and we square it because it's the side squared. So if I would square this, it'd be 2 squared times x squared, which would give us the answer of 4x squared square feet. Next one, if the length of one side of the room is 3ab cubed c squared feet, what is the area of the room? So again, this is a square. So I'm going to take my 3ab cubed c squared feet, and we are squaring that. So 3 squared is 9, a squared is a squared, b to the 3rd squared would be b to the 6th, c squared to the 2nd power would be c to the 4th, and we would have square feet. A shipping container is in the shape of a cube with a side length of 3x inches. What is the value of a container? So value would be s cubed. So all the sides are the same. It's a 3D, so one side is 3x. So that means all the sides are 3x. So I would have to cube everything. So 3 cubed is 27. X cubed would just be x cubed. And we would have cubic inches. Next, the power of a quotient property. So if we have fractions and we raise it to a power, we have to raise both the numerator and the denominator to that same power. So the first one's been done for you, 2x over 5, all that raised to the 2nd power. 2 squared is 4, x to the 2nd power is x squared, 5 squared is 25. So we'll do the same thing. Negative x squared to the 4th power. Since I have a negative inside the parentheses, and I'm raising it to an even number, that makes it a positive x to the 8th. And then 3 to the 4th power would be 81. Y cubed times 4 is y to the 12th. So that would be my answer there. Next one, 5 cubed is 125. This would be x cubed all over 7 cubed would be 343. And that would be our answer there. Our next one, negative x to the 5th squared. Since I have an even number exponent on the outside here, this would be a positive x to the 10th over 6 squared is 36, y squared. Next one, 3 cubed is 27, y to the 12th over 4 cubed would be 64. And the next one, we have a negative x to the 2nd power. That'd just be a positive x squared. 7 squared is 49. Y to the 10th. Then simplifying these expressions where we have multiple terms here. Now for these, you first need to simplify the exponents before you can do some multiplication. So 4 squared, so we get 4 squared would be 16. Then it's x squared, y to the 4th. And over here, 2 squared is 4, x to the 6th, y squared. And then we multiply straight across. So 16 times 4 gives us 64. X squared times x to the 6th. When we multiply like bases, we add the exponents, so it would be x to the 8th. And then y to the 4th times y squared would be y to the 6th. Next one, negative 5 squared is 25. X to the negative 2nd is x to the negative 4th. So we need to put that on the bottom to make it positive, so x to the 4th. This is multiplied by 3 to the 4th power, which is 81. X to the 4th, y squared, or y to the 8th. You're right there, and this is all over 1. Now if I write my answer, I have 25 times 81, which is 2025. X to the 4th divided by x to the 4th. When we divide like bases, we subtract, so 4 minus 4 is 0. X to the 0 is just 1, so the x's cancel out. And then I have y to the 8th. So that would be my answer there. And we'll just cross off the x's so you know that those cancel each other out. Next one, 2 squared is 4. X squared, y to the 6th. All that multiplying by 5 cubed is 125. X to the 6th, y cubed. Simplify that, or solve those, so 4 times 125 is 500. And then x squared times x to the 6th is x to the 8th. Y to the 6th times y cubed is y to the 9th. And our final slide here, we have negative 4 squared, which is 16, x to the negative 4th. And then we got 3 to the 4th power, which is 81, x to the 4th, y to the 8th. And then we multiply those together, so we got 16 times 81 gives us 1,296. X to the negative 4th times x to the 4th. Add them together gives you 0. X to the 0, which is 1. And then we have y to the 8th. Next one, negative 5 squared is 25. X to the negative 6th times 6 cubed is 216. X squared, or no, x cubed, y to the 6th. So 216 times 25 gives us 5,400. X to the negative 6th times x to the 3rd. You add them, that gives you x to the negative 3rd. So I'm going to put x cubed on the denominator to make it positive. And then I have y to the 6th on the top. And our last one here, 9 squared is 81. A squared, b to the negative 4th times 2a squared b to the 4th, because the exponent is 1, so it's just itself. So 81 times 2 gives us 162. A squared times a squared is a to the 4th. B to the negative 4th times b to the 4th cancels each other out. So that's just 1, so our answer is 162 a to the 4th. So that is another lesson on working with exponents.